Hey, I just want to quick talk about one thing here. I've had some questions about what actually happened to Lloyd, the orange cat, what kind of accident he actually did have. Rest assured, it wasn't anything related to working in the shop or building guitars, anything like that. My cats, they spend a lot of time in the nice heated shop, but they do go out from time to time. So they're indoor outdoor cats. And unfortunately, Lloyd was hit by a car, was what happened. Person didn't stop, didn't let us know, none of that stuff. It just, he didn't come in. So we went looking for him and found him out in the road. So kind of a sad deal. But a couple of you have expressed some concern and questions about what actually happened there. So we're going to move on from where we left off last week before we had the technical issues with my laptop. I'm going to show you how we actually got to this point right here. So stick around. Here we go. So like I said, it's really important to get the glue with the sawdust around the perimeter of the body where you're going to see it. So we're going to start by putting that down. Make sure you use plenty. You want that ooze out. I'm going to have to clean it up. Let's get clamping. This is the point where you'd normally throw in the obligatory, you can never have too many clamps comment. And that's true. If there's one tool you really can't get by without, it's going to be clamps. You can kind of see how this is just a mess from the ooze out. I'll clean that up here in a second. A lot of that will get sanded off anyway, so I'm not going to go too crazy on it. But you can see what's going on here. Lots of clamps, lots of glue everywhere, and we'll run it through the belt sander around the perimeter and tidy everything up to the same size, and away we'll go. Well, we're going to fast forward a little bit today. I ran that body through the belt sander, got the edges all cleaned up. I splashed a little bit of black stain on it just so I could see the grain of the wood. I kind of like to do that. Kind of jump the gun a little bit, but it's my thing. I'll sand it all back off again. Leonard's gonna help. So I'm gonna do a little sanding with some 180 grit, get the body all smoothed down, front, back, sides, all that stuff. It's the one thing about guitar building you'll find is you'll spend a lot of time hand sanding things. You get into features like this, and really the best way I found is just do it by hand. Right? Yeah. Yeah, I know. Well, here we are. Been sanding. Took this down to 180 on the back and sides. I actually went to 220 on the top. Actually, I went 180, splashed some black stain on it, and then hit it with 220 just to see what kind of figuring I have. Kind of pops really nice. I think I'm going to be really happy with that. I was originally going to make the back and sides almost a solid black, but as I sand out the back, there's actually some figuring popping out of this walnut here, so that's pretty cool. I'm going to have to probably feature that, so maybe the front will be dark and the back will be more of a brown, or maybe I'll make it all black and see if that will pop through the black, kind of a semi-transparent. We'll just have to see as we go. I kind of play a lot of this by ear and just see what the wood wants to do. The neck, I haven't quite decided what I'm going to do with the neck. I do have some nice flaming maple, which will, play well with this. So maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do walnut. I haven't quite decided yet. I got a little time to get to that. So what we're going to do now is, excuse me, buddy, I've been taking some measurements off this. This is kind of my master. I took some measurements off the neck pocket, depth of that, bridge location, pickup location, things like that. So when I actually originally figured out where I was going to route on this, a lot of the dimensions where I left wood were derived from basically dimensions off of this guitar. So I'm going back through it right now. Right now in particular, I'm looking at the neck, the depth of the pocket. I'm going to mark that there, and the depth of the pocket this way. So when I put it in my fixture, I'll know how deep to make it and how far back in the body to go. Then ultimately when I put my bridge on and locate my pickups, it'll all fall into place. Something to mention. Center line of your guitar. When you're building your guitar, you have to pick your center line. Whether that's just a arbitrary line down the center of the body, the line between your book match top, whatever. You have to pick a center line and build everything off of that. Whether you're locating your bridge, has to be centered on that. Your pickups have to be centered on that. Your neck has to be aligned with that. Otherwise, your strings will come in. They'll be all off center to what would be the center of your guitar. Might look funny, might not align with the center of your book match top, what have you. It's just imperative that you build around that center line. So to that, I think you'll be able to see, you should be able to see that pencil line right here, along with my stained hands. So that line lines up with the center of my book matched maple top. Got another line on the back side. I'll line that up with a line in this fixture. So then when I route my pocket, it'll all be square and straight. Okay, as you can see, the guitar body's in there. I'll try to give you a shot. You can kind of see how the center line of the body lines up with the center line in the fixture. And as you come back around here, you can see how my mark lines up with the center line in the fixture there. So in theory, when I route this out, the pocket will be in this location. Once this goes back on to stop the router. Set my depth to this other little mark I have here. In theory, it should we should wind up with just the correct size and orientation of the neck pocket. Well, there you go. Looks pretty good. This is usually one of those points in a project where it's kind of a make or break deal. It either is going to work well or everything's going to go horribly wrong. It looks pretty good. Do have a little bit of a discrepancy in that corner, but that's no big deal. My neck's actually, the fretboard comes back a little bit, kind of like a Fender Strat. So it'll cover anything like that. And actually that would pretty much sand out. So not a big deal anyway. Okay. So clean this up a little bit. There's always a little bit of a unevenness when you route. It wasn't much, but just a little bit of sandpaper and a file. You want to get this all nice and flat, so when your neck's in there, you have as much wood-to-wood contact as possible. You want to make sure your sides are nice and square. That way, when your neck fits in there, it'll fit nice and tight. Again, you want that wood-to-wood contact all the way around, across the bottom. More wood is better. Your goal is the neck should fit tight enough that when you put it in, you can actually hold the guitar up, pick it up without any sort of screws or glue in it. It should be that tight in the neck pocket. To show you something here, when I mentioned the point when things go horribly wrong, this is a guitar I was making several years ago. You can see it's kind of a Stratocaster style guitar. My router actually jumped and it split a nice chunk out of here. So, you know, I pieced a piece of mahogany in to match the rest of the body. But it really ruined the opportunity to show off this top, which was actually a nice piece of maple. Ultimately, I, painted it and you couldn't tell. I was never really happy with it for a couple different reasons. But ultimately, this thing just kind of turned into a test mule for different finishes, different pickups, things like that. Right now, it's kind of laying in pieces. Just one of those things I have kicking around that maybe someday I'll refinish it and put it back together, or I'll just continue using it for testing. But warts and all, that's a good example of how things can go horribly wrong. When you're routing, a good tip is don't try to take the whole bite at once. So for example, when I did this one, I actually routed halfway down, and then I came back in and finished it all. Try to take too big a bite, that router is going to want to jump around on you, and that's how you get this stuff. Well, the cats have put up with a lot of noise tonight, and it's getting late. I think we'll call her a night and hit her again in the morning. Everybody wants to go to sleep. Huh? How about you? Huh? Yeah. Time for bed. All right, buddy. Hey, I hope you enjoyed today's video. You may have noticed during the intro, this guitar sitting here, a little bit of foreshadowing. These are the sides that we bent a couple weeks ago. We're going to be moving forward with this probably in the next week or two. Be putting neck and tail blocks in it, putting the reinforcements around the sides on it, just some things like that. So aside from working on the electric, we'll also be doing some features on this. So if you don't want to miss that, make sure you subscribe and tune in. And until then, we'll catch you later. Bye.